weird place in homeschooling where I feel like if you assign a grade level to your kids, especially those older homeschool parents are like, oh, we don't give grade levels to our kids. Hey everyone, this is Garrett Hampton. Welcome back to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast. I am back this week with Aby Rinella, and we are here to kick off a new series, and we are so excited about this. We're starting a new series this week called Homeschooling Through the Years, and we're going to go for the next several weeks through homeschooling through preschool, elementary school, middle school, high school, and then the after years. And we have some amazing guests, and Aby and I are actually recording this in the aftermath because we have already recorded all the other episodes. So it's kind of fun. We get to kind of look back and see what we've talked about with the others. And so today it's just Aby and I, and then later this week, actually tomorrow, we're going to kick off the series with Amy Sloan, and we're going to talk a little bit about who's coming on for this series. But I'm so excited to be doing this series with you guys. The Lord put this on my heart several months ago, and so we've been praying through this. And I just always stand amazed at the guests that He brings to the podcast to bring encouragement to myself and to you. And so it's going to be an awesome, awesome series. I know it because I've already recorded all of it. So anyway, before we get started, though, I want to say thank you to our sponsor, BJU Press Homeschool. If you're looking for a great Christian homeschool curriculum that will teach your kids from a solid biblical worldview, try them out at bjupresshomeschool.com. Just go on their website, peruse through it, see what it is that you are in need of for your kids this year and this coming year. Because it's almost here. Like it's coming so quickly. How does summer go by so fast? I know. It's almost here.
But we're not going to talk about that today.
We are. Yeah. Before you start the new year, though, you should probably know what curriculum you're using. And so BJU Press Homeschool is here to help you and rescue you. And if you're not sure what you need, call them up, talk to one of their consultants, and they will help walk you through what you need. They have something for every grade, every age, every subject. And again, they teach everything from a strong biblical worldview. So try them out, bjupresshomeschool.com. Well, Aby, welcome back to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast.
Hey, thanks. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you here. I always love having you with me.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. Oh, no. I have never heard you say that.
I know. I don't think I've ever said that.
That's so funny. You know, there's those little like sayings that you never, I don't know. I have these ones that I'm like, I'll never say it. Like, I never say LOL. Ever. I never text it. I never say it.
No, I have never either. Do you know what one is? We went to a coffee shop the other day, and this kid, no matter what we said, he'd go, oh, for sure. For sure. Oh, for sure. For sure. Like I probably 700 times. I'm like, can you make that a 16 ounce? Oh, for sure. And then lately I've heard the kids all saying for sure, like in the world around us, like we had VBS and everybody's like, oh, for sure. But you know how you're around it so much, you're like, don't say for sure. Whatever you do, don't say for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it for sure, I know. I'm like, you can't hijack just two words in a row and make it a thing. That's so hilarious. I just did. I said, it's been a minute, and that's a thing. I'm sorry. It has been approximately 5 weeks.
It's so funny. Our girls, I think the slang today is so stinking hilarious. Oh. So do you guys make fun of it in your house? We do. Garrett and I all the time.
For sure we do.
For sure. Did I tell you about the time that my girls, actually, this was so funny. This was several months ago. And they decided that they were going to make up a bunch of words and say them as if they were real, like slang words that they understood.
Could get it going.
So they went as long as they could, and they totally got me. I mean, they were like saying these funny words, and I was like, "Well, what does that one mean?" And then after probably the fourth word, they just start cracking up, and they were like, "We've been tricking you all day." It was really funny because they just rolled with it with each other. Like they hadn't figured out what words they were going to say.
Like we wouldn't know. That's so unfair to take advantage of the elderly like that.
Right.
But then they do go away because remember when like sus, did you guys have sus where you live? Like, that's sus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I, for the longest time, had no clue. And then I'm like, well, all you're doing is shortening words. Like that's not even intelligent. Like you're just going to shorten a word and now it's a cool slang. But I bet our parents thought that our slang words were the same.
Right. Yeah. It's weird. It's so weird. Every generation.
Feel like this generation could get more creative. Like all they're doing is either shortening words or they're taking something that we say anyway, like for sure. Like people have been saying that since the garden, people. And now you just made it trendy.
I think that's an Idaho thing. I haven't heard for sure.
You haven't heard it? Oh, for sure.
Not in Oklahoma.
Sure. Oh, for sure. Yeah. It'll be there. Actually, we're usually last. Usually we are always the very end of the road.
Huh. I don't know. I'm in Oklahoma. We're kind of slow here.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. Well, let me know if you hear for sure. For sure.
I'm going to start listening. And now I'm going to hear people say it all the time. If my girls say it, I'll know that that's like the cool thing to be saying right now. So yeah, Garrett and I tease them all the time. Anyhow, so I am so excited about this week. Just kicking off this series, the Homeschooling Through the Years series. And so I want to kind of go through what we're going to be doing. And this is just a quick kind of intro episode to this, but I think that this is one of the best series that we have done ever. And so what we're doing, like I said, is we're going to go through kind of every phase of schooling, every phase of it. And it's not just school. We're actually not talking just about the academics for each of these, years of your children's lives, but we're talking about like kids during these years.
And life, because that's how homeschool is, right? We don't put things in a box. It is life. It is raising kids. It is. This series feels strangely like exciting, but mournful, like, because when you talk about those preschool years, I'm like, oh man, those were the best.
I know.
Then you get to the elementary, like, oh man, no, those were the best. And then it's kind of it just goes so fast, Eva.
Yes.
It's like, it is like the blink of an eye, and you're through all of these phases. You've just gone through all of those seasons at once.
Yes, it's so fast. And you were saying it's really interesting. You have a child in every one of these phases
Not
of
preschool,
life.
Elementary, middle, and high school right now.
Right.
So it's a trip, because I still identify as I can identify as a preschool. Like when I go to a group and I see all those preschool moms, I'm like, oh, those are my people. And then I'm like, oh man, no, like I'm in the next season.
Yeah.
But it goes so fast. And I think that's what we want to encourage you, is just to fully embrace and be in each one of those seasons.
Yeah. I look back so often, and I'll see those preschoolers and even the babies that our church has so many young families. And so there's literally babies and preschoolers everywhere. Like it's like they've taken over the place, and they're so precious. And I love just the innocence of them, and they're just the sweetness of these little itty bitty ones. And so much of me wants to go back. And not that I have a lot of regrets. I mean, I think all of us have some regrets, things that we would do differently. But I look at them like, oh man, I just want to go back to those years so badly.
Totally.
This is such a funny thought, but I thought I understand people who have many, many, many kids, because each phase is so exciting and so much fun. And so I would love to just keep doing it all over again.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. I would love to always have a preschooler, always have an elementary schooler, always have a middle schooler, and always have a high schooler. Always. I would just love to always be in that moment of each one of those. Ugh.
Yes. But without all of the like tantrums and discipline issues. Like, let's just take all those out.
Yeah. With perfect kids.
Right.
Like, I want to be in each one of those seasons with perfect children, and I would be a perfect mom, but that's not reality.
Right. On the days that are easy and good, and everybody's complying and everyone's having good attitudes, including myself.
And with sleeping through the night. That's the other thing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to do the get up through the night thing again. Even though those were the most precious hours, I have to say those were some of the most precious, beautiful hours.
Yes.
I'm okay to sleep through the night.
Right. Yeah. Well, even more so after you, like when you have just one, it's not that big a deal. At least for me, it wasn't.
Right.
Because I just had one, you know, and I could take naps the next day when she was taking a nap, things like that. But yes, once you have more than one, those sleepless nights are very difficult. So, so we're going to walk through what we're going to do, but first we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Have you tried CTC Math yet with your child? Here's a testimonial from another happy homeschool mom. Amber said, I'm absolutely thrilled with CTC Math. It's a rare find that I've used with my children for more than 5 years now. I have 6 children using CTC Math, and each child has found it easy to navigate and very applicable. Thank you so much for all that you are doing in providing quality math lessons for my children. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com. That's ctcmath.com. Are you looking for a homeschool curriculum that goes beyond textbooks and truly engages your children in the joy of learning? Apologia's award-winning curriculum is written by homeschool parents to specifically meet your needs and captivate your students with hands-on activities and experiments that make learning unforgettable. With an easy-to-follow, open-and-go format, Apologia takes the stress out of planning and provides a simple roadmap that can easily be tailored to your family's needs. Explore live classes or self-paced courses designed to accommodate every student's unique learning style. Elevate your child's education, spark their curiosity, and nurture a lifelong love for learning with Apologia. Discover Apologia today at apologia.com. We are back with Aby. All right, so here's who we have coming up, and we'll kind of talk through each one of these just very briefly. We've got Amy Sloan. Like I said, she's kicking off this week, starting tomorrow, and she's going to talk about pre-K and the early elementary years. She's been on our podcast a few times. She's with Humility and Doxology, and it's so fun, as I was praying through what guests I was going to have for each of these particular levels of childhood. I really prayed about it. I was like, Lord, you just bring to me who you want. And so I did a little bit of research, and with Amy, she's one I didn't even realize that she focused a lot on the pre-K and early elementary years. And so I think I just Googled, pre-K, early elementary, homeschooling, and Amy's name popped up. And I was like, oh, of course, she's perfect for this. I know her.
Perfect.
And so I reached out to her, and she came on and talked about it. And it, again, just such sweet years. And so she brings such great encouragement with just dealing with those early years and what that can look like. We don't give specific instruction on this is exactly how you homeschool through these years, but we kind of talk about where kids are at with, their emotions and with learning and what's the most important things to focus on, but not this is exactly how you have to do it.
Yeah, because there's not a formula, right? There's not a formula. That's why we homeschool, is because we decided to remove our kids from a system that says there's a formula. And so it's different for each family. Those preschool years, to me, I can still say to this day, they're probably some of my favorite. But I know, looking back, they were like the easiest, most perfect, most awesome. But I remember then when I was in them, they were hard too. Like there was a lot of hard stuff, and you felt, it did feel heavy at times, because you were like, everything hinges on me if they learn to read, if they learn to count, if they're successful, But looking back, I'm like, man, and that's what I know we'll talk about over the next few weeks too, is what really matters too. Yes. And keeping the important things important and not getting bogged down by the things that aren't.
Yeah. Yep. That's right. And we talk about that through the whole series with every level.
Right.
So Amy's kicking off preschool and elementary, or early elementary.
Okay.
And then Amy Roberts is coming on to talk about the elementary years. So we're talking, kind of that like second grade through fifth grade, maybe, that area of kids. And for those of you, let me just say, we're at a weird place in homeschooling where I feel like if you assign a grade level to your kids, especially those older homeschool parents are like, oh, we don't give grade levels to our kids. This is horrible. We homeschool. We can't possibly label them with a grade.
Number on them.
Okay. But society requires there to be a grade
like when you go sign up for
them.
VBS, you are going to have to put a number. So you do have to. I remember that one year I'm like, I have to make a decision because like we have swim lessons, and apparently in order to swim, they need to know what grade this kid's in.
Right.
So you do kind of have to, for functioning in the rest of the world, pick a number.
Yes. So there is nothing wrong with assigning a grade number to your kids. And really, when you look at it in the end, your child has to graduate at some point. And in order to graduate, they have to be in 12th grade.
Right.
Like, that's just how it is. You can't say they're in 14th grade graduating, you know? I mean, that's just weird. So at some point, they're going to hit 12th grade. But what you don't have to do, you can pick the number, but you don't have to follow what everybody says they have, where they have to be in that place. The number is just basically, for that kind of scheduling. When the doctor says, what grade are you in?
But what we aren't going to do is tell you what a kid needs to know and where they need to be and how they have to, perform at a certain grade level. That part we're not all about.
Yep, exactly. And we talk about all of that through this series as well. Like just because your kid's in 7th grade does not mean that they have to do 7th grade math.
Right.
They can do whatever math. If they're in algebra 2, great. If they're still doing 4th grade math, great. Whatever works best for your kids. So you don't have to assign a number to them. But
until it's time to go to VBS, you do. Just kidding.
Right.
And for this series.
Yes. Or a sports team,
absolutely.
She's playing volleyball now, and it's so much fun, but she is on a junior high volleyball team because she is going into 8th grade, respectively, according to societal norms.
And rightly so, because you can't take your big, strong, buff senior and be like, I'm going
Right.
to call him an 8th grader so that he can pummel everybody on the football field. You know, I mean, there
Exactly.
is, anyway, side note.
Nor
yes.
can you take a boy and put him on a girls' sports team. Oh, that's a whole different
Amen.
topic.
That's a whole different
We won't talk
topic.
about that.
Luckily for
Oh,
you don't assign your child a gender. God already
Right.
did that from
Amen.
birth.
Done by the God of the universe who
Okay,
made them.
so that's elementary, like 5th through.
Yes, yeah. So
Second
Amy
through fifth
Roberts
grade.
from Raising Arrows,
Awesome.
she's talking about elementary years. And again, she's just so passionate about that age group. And so she brings
I
such
love
great
it.
encouragement. And she's so much fun to listen to anyway. She's not been on the podcast before, which is crazy because
wow.
I know. I've followed her for so long, and in the past, I've invited her to be on as she was just going through some crazy family things and wasn't able to. And so finally she's like, yes, I'm available now. I can do this.
Awesome.
So very exciting. Middle school years, Cindy West from Our Journey Westward. She's coming on, and we love Cindy. She's been on at least twice. She's been on the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast, and she is just a wealth of encouragement and resources and information. And just so you guys know, just because I want to clarify, all of these moms have their own specific podcasts or blogs or whatever, but we're not talking about that. We're not here to sell their thing. We're not selling Cindy's middle school curriculum or whatever they have. They're just giving an overview of, like Cindy gives an overview of the middle school years. And we talk about, that those middle school years are when, those hormones are kicking in, and it's kind of crazy. Middle schoolers they're odd. Like they're trying to figure out who they are and what they're doing, and, just who they are as people. And so we talk a lot about just the emotions that they're going through, and sometimes the attitudes that come with that, and how to deal with all those things. And we talk about the academics too, but we're not talking specifically just about the academics there. So yeah, she's great.
Oh, I can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
And
middle school years are fun.
last, but not last,
Well,
but
not
least,
last.
because we have high school and
High school.
the post. Okay, so high school.
Yeah, high school is Carrie DeFrancisco with Coffee with Carrie. And again, she's been on the podcast a couple of times. And she wrote a book on homeschooling high school. And so
Awesome.
she's actually the one who kind of kicked this off, because she sent me her new book, Homeschooling High School. And I was like, oh, this is a great idea. Let's do a whole one on just high school. And then I was like, well, if we're going to do high school, we should do middle school. Well, if we're going to do middle school, we should do elementary. Well, if we're going to do elementary, we should probably do preschool. And it just got the ball rolling. So this whole series is as a result of Carrie's new book. And so she talks about transcripts and preparing them for college. And again, going through, kind of past that, like those early puberty years and into the years of, later teens. And they change so much from 8th grade to 12th grade.
Insane. It is insane.
Crazy.
Which, spoiler alert, when you're thinking about high school, you can do it. Like, everybody's like, oh, not high school. We can't do it. It's too hard. It's really not. And I can't wait for everybody to hear her talk about, you can do it. And it's actually for me, it's a precious, sweet season. Yeah. It's kind of like the end of, it's like the fruits of all those labor years,
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's awesome. She brings such great encouragement for those high school years. And, we just graduated Brooklyn, and it is, man, it's very exciting, but launching kids into the adult years is something that I'm learning. You know, it's coming, and you prepare for it as well as you can.
Right.
But there's really not a way to prepare yourself for myself. This is like, I didn't know how to prepare myself for what was to come. And so far, so good. We're just a couple months out from her graduation, so she's just entering into her adult life. But man, it is a whole different world. And so Rachael Carman.
Which leads into the post years, which is Rachael Carman. And I have to say, I'm so excited, which she's been on a million times, but Rachael is such a wealth of information. And this homeschooling through the years thing, I've always struggled personally. Like, I'm one of those people that looks ahead. Like, I plan ahead. I look, and I remember in preschool, I was always mourning the preschool years being over, and then in the elementary school years, I was always mourning the fact that I'm now going to have a middle schooler. And I've always just been holding on. Like, I struggle with the kids growing up. Like I said, I could forever do this the rest of my life. And I remember I now have a high schooler, and I called Rachael, and I'm like, I feel like I can't breathe. I feel like I'm constantly in this state of mourning, of knowing that she's going to launch and I'm going to be a train wreck. And she gave me, and this is why I'm so excited for everybody to hear her, because she's so full of wisdom, because she's walked the entire journey. Like her kids are now, you know, she's way past you and just, I mean, they've been gone, and she's moved on. But she gave me the greatest advice. And she said, here's the thing. When it happens, it is going to literally feel like ripping your heart out. Like it's going to hurt. And she's the first person that validated that, because everybody else was like, oh, the Lord prepares you for it. And by the time they leave, they've already, you know, left so much little by little that you're going to be ready for them to go. And in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm not going to feel that way. I just know it. I know it's going to hurt. And so she validated that. But then she gave me the best wisdom. And she said, because it's going to hurt so bad in that moment, stop making it hurt ahead of time. Like, enjoy the last years while you have them. Don't keep projecting as to what's coming. Like, fully be in the moment that you're in. And so that's what I want to share with all the moms on this journey. When you're in the preschool years, be there fully. Don't start to get anxious and stressed and have all those feelings about what's next. God knows what's next, and you're going to fully feel it when it comes. But don't worry about tomorrow, just be in today. And anyway, Rachael's, I cannot wait, because she's so full of wisdom and just, she's so real.
Yes. Yeah, she is. That is one of the things I love most about her. She's very transparent, very real. Yes. She doesn't come across as, I had it all figured out and I launched my kids and they, are all doing exactly what I wanted them to do.
She'll be like, I laid on the couch for a solid week crying after each one of them, right? Yes. I mean, she has a great story that she'll share about that, because, and how little by little she had to get up,
Yep, exactly. So she's coming on to talk about the after years. And so we're excited. It's going to be a great series.
Yeah,
and we are so glad to be able to bring this to you guys. So do us a favor, share this with your friends, share this series with them so that they can come on and have the encouragement. I know many of us have kids who are in, several of these different categories, whether you've got a preschooler and a middle schooler and a high schooler or whatever it is. Share this with your friends so that they can have the encouragement that they need. And speaking of that, if you guys haven't left a review for the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast, please leave one. We are so encouraged when you guys do that. And it really does help other people to be able to find the podcast, because I see all the time, people are always asking on social media, what podcast do you listen to? What homeschool podcast do you listen to? So before people ask you, just go to your friends or post it on your social media and say, hey, have you listened to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast yet? I've told you guys before, you are our marketing team. And so we really do depend on you guys to help get the word out about this podcast. And we don't have $1 million marketing budget. I wish we did, but we don't. And that's totally fine. You guys are our $1 million marketing budget. For those of you in the South, y'all are.
The other thing is Schoolhouse Rocked has been around so long that there are so many back episodes. I mean, there are so many incredible episodes that have already been aired years ago. Go back and peruse, because every topic you can imagine that's homeschool and family related has been covered. So don't just wait for the next one, but go back and check out all the incredible episodes that have already been done.
Yeah, which is kind of funny. When I was thinking about this, I actually had to go back. I was like, have we done this series before? And we haven't. I don't know how it's taken all these years to do this specific series, but I'm excited about this. So this will be the next several weeks coming up. And then we've got some amazing guests coming up after the series is over. So stick with us. Thank you guys so much for being with us this week. Stay tuned to hear what's coming up next on the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast, and stick with us the rest of this week as we welcome Amy Sloan to talk about pre-K and the early elementary years. We love you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Aby, for being with me today to kick off this series. And we will see you guys back here tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.
Laughing in the face of imposter syndrome and coming to you from the epicenter of manly overconfidence, I'm your host, Garrett Hampton, and you are listening to The Thinking Dad.
Even if we're able to push the evildoers and the totalitarians back for another generation, maybe if we work really hard, maybe even 2 generations, if they've got the young people, it's over.
I often think about Daniel's parents, who you don't hear anything about. But they must have laid down the foundation for Daniel to be able to go into Babylon and not fall.
We're in that very beginning part of the cycle for tough times. We've been fat and happy. We've been enjoying we're lazy because we enjoy so much freedom. We got all these blessings, and why would you go do the hard work? And so for a long time now, decades, we haven't had to do the hard work. We've been living on the fumes of previous generations paying the price. And we got to raise the bar and say, I'm willing to give more of my life, that's my time, more of my money, of course, that's our fortune, and more of my sacred honor, which is my reputation. I'm willing to put it all on the line. Every single one of us has to be willing to do that.
Join us for the first season of The Thinking Dad at thinkinggdad.net.
We're not just after their minds. We're not trying to raise, rock star academic students. Although, hey, that's great too. We love academics. But our real goal, the core, is that we want to have children that love the Lord with all their heart, soul, mind, and strength. And so before you start getting too worried about the letters and the numbers and can my child, write their name, let's make sure that we keep that discipleship at the heart of our preschool goals as well. The faith and discipleship opportunities we have in the preschool years are so precious. They're so open and receptive. They naturally just love and want to hear what anything mommy and daddy tell them, right? And so it's a really precious time and not to be squandered and wasted by, worrying about, calculus when they're 3.